So lots of us got all kinds of planty things for Christmas. And we've already gotten emails. Lots of you got Aerogardens for Christmas from loved ones who didn't know what else to get you. And now you're trying to figure out, could you grow carnivorous plants in this thing? We don't really know. This isn't like a hearty endorsement. This is let's figure it out together. So we're gonna start off opening this thing up and seeing what's inside. Ready to try? We'll find out. So it looks like this is the gourmet herbs that we're supposed to grow in there. Herbs are fun, but I don't know, since it won't last that long, and I could probably grow something more interesting in there. This is the plug. There are some quick setup guide in here. We'll take a look at that in a second. Let's read some instructions. This thing. Oh, that's the light. So it looks like it's got a pretty strong LED light on there. That's interesting. Let's see if that's enough for carnivorous plants. That looks like a stand. Oh, and it looks like you can telescope it to what distance you want. That distance. No comment. Oh, and here's the thing. There's actually like more. Looks like there's way more compartments in there than I thought. I thought there'd be like 4 or 5, but how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little spots for plants. That's pretty cool. Open up the plastic. Okay. And this thing. Alright, well, that's not everything is in there. Let's get rid of that. Garbage. Okay, so fix our guide real quick. Doesn't seem like there's too much. Oh, this is a little trellis. So that'd hold your herbs upright, but probably the carnivorous plants won't need that. So I don't think we're gonna worry about the trellis too much. I think the hard thing about this is gonna be getting our plants into there somehow. So we're gonna have to open up this herb thing in a second here. We'll take a look to see exactly what the little compartments are gonna look like and see if we can get carnivorous plants in there. And then we'll set it up at probably Daniela's house and we'll see how they do after a month or so, and we'll keep you guys all posted. Okay, so now we got that put together. I'm gonna go find some possible plants that we could put into here. So I'll be right back. So we did get this thing put together, and actually it really was super easy. This thing goes in there, this thing goes on top, and it looks like it's like a little hydroponic grow system. Basically, you'll put the water in here to a fill level, and then it just recirculates it and keeps the roots wet, and that's fine. I think you can grow a lot of our plants that way. But there's just kind of like an empty hole in here. See, there's really nothing to hold onto it. So that's why they gave us these little herb things. So this has a little peat plug in there that's dehydrated, and they've put some thyme seeds in there. Never enough time. But today, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this thing, but I'm gonna take off all this. This is highly experimental. Can never keep track of the time. All right. So now we have that, and I think we could get a carnivorous plant in there. We're gonna use our old pal sphagnum to do that. I've already got this like dampened, soaking. Squeeze out a little of the water here. Yeah. And we'll put a carnivorous plant in there, of course, but I think like what we'll do is we'll just end up kind of packing this into there. Maybe. It's gonna take some doing. Yeah, it's really not that much space. You put a tiny bit of moss in there so as to fill that up, so less ambitious with the moss. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so that's like about half full. I think we could put like a little fly trap or a little Cape Sundew into that, wrap it in some moss and put it in and stick it in there. Let's see how that goes. Oh, I still haven't get plants, but I still haven't got them. Let's go grab some plants. Okay, so I went and got some different carnivorous plants from around the nursery. But we have these square pots, round holes, and I think that's where the challenge is gonna be about getting these in here. So we pulled out the herbs things that was coming in there. We've got some sphagnum. Now we gotta get these things out of the pots and into here somehow. Let's start with the Nepenthes. I'm kind of curious to see how this does. Seems like I might keep it a little too wet because They like little periods of drying out. So we're just gonna bare root this guy. The nice thing about carnivorous plants is they don't ever have very many roots. So you can see there's all the roots on it. So that's gonna be easy enough to get into there. But I think it would be a bad idea to I think I want to be careful about getting it in there without crushing all the roots. So what I'll probably do is I got about halfway full. I'm just gonna put that on top. And then I'll take some sphagnum and just tuck it in around the sides here. Shouldn't be too tough. And maybe a little bit over there. And I'll take the time to make it look kind of tidy. Watch out with your little pitchers because they do want to get caught and everything. They're designed to catch on everything. Yeah, it's going pretty good. Yeah. So there's our first little guy. Actually, I think there's a lot of promise to that. Clean it up a little bit later with some scissors, but we got him in there. You see some of the roots are kind of exposed, but that should probably be okay as long as it stays wet in there. We'll put this guy right in the back slot. Yeah, that looks good. Actually, that's really good. This is supposed to be mint. Oh yeah, this comes right off really easy. Pop that out. Let's do this Cape Sundew really quick. Now there'll probably be a few more roots on the Cape Sundew, so we might have to kind of coil them up to get them in there. But they're probably more forgiving with their roots too. So. Oh yeah, there's kind of a long one on there. What's kind of cool about this is I think we could do like a lot of different carnivorous plants in there that would normally take different mixes. But I think we could probably all put them into sphagnum. This guy's usually in peat and perlite, but should grow into sphagnum plug pretty happily. And we'll pull off some of these old leaves. So it looks nice when we get in there. The sundews, it's always smart to try and keep your muddy hands off of them. That's half the battle, it's not getting your peaty hands all over there. This one, let's see. Take a little bit of sphagnum. I'm just gonna wrap it. I think that the roots are gonna take up most of that. Let's just see if I can jam it in from above. Let's see. Here we go. Not really working as well as I want. Let me try this one more time. Let's take it out. And lots of times, honestly, when you guys are asking us questions like this, we just have to figure it out too. We're just people, and most of our expertise comes from improvising, making mistakes, adjusting. So don't be afraid. I mean, Cape Sundew's $10-15, but I don't want to waste it or kill anything. But don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. That's how we learn so much. So this is how we learn. That's why I'm showing you this process, because normally everything's so polished around here, sort of. Because usually we have it all pretty figured out and dialed in. But sometimes it's fun to see experts try and figure something out too. So let's see. I'm gonna try and kind of pull at it from underneath here. Get these roots to go at it. Yeah, that's kind of working. Let me get this forceps. Squeeze it. There's a bunch of stuff right here. Kind of helpful. Actually, I think just getting it kind of down into that is pretty good. There's good contact at the top, so it looks pretty good. That was kind of dangling up, but that might be all right. I think I'm just going to stuff a little bit in through the sides here, so that there's a little bit more. That's kind of nice about this, is you don't actually have to get it all through the top. You can kind of, the bars bend, and you can put a little moss through the sides like that. That's pretty good. I don't know. See how that goes. This guy can go in the back too because he's tall. It's starting to fill out pretty nice. Fly traps are better outside, but for the sake of experimentation, we're really curious to see what this light will do. And I like that it telescopes, so you can move it up or down, closer or farther, depending on the plants. We're gonna start off with it really close once we get it in there. There's a little Cape Sundew in this pot too. Maybe we'll see if we can do something with that. Okay, so fly trap, come here. Sundew off to the side. And again, this is kind of a clumpy pot, so there's a lot, but there's not a whole lot here. So it'll fit in there pretty well. I think I might just try to jam it in there with just a little bit of moss around the top. So in this one, since there's a lot of rhizome under there, I'm just gonna like wrap a little bit around the top to kind of keep it clean. Good contact with the water. Oh, I forgot to open the little up. Genovese basil. No, thank you. See. Yeah, actually, that's what we're gonna do. Just gonna switch in from the top. That seems to be the best technique. A little moss on the top, and then just a little bit through the sidebars here to fill it out. That's working really nicely, actually, I feel like. And carnivorous plants don't need a lot of soil, so a basil could grow in here. I'm pretty sure being a slide shot could grow in here. Okay, frontish. Here's another one that probably might look pretty green unless the light's really powerful. I'll be really curious to see. And they like winter dormancy, so this wouldn't be like a long-term thing. But let's face it, if you got one of these for Christmas and you're putting it together, it's probably not like a lifetime ambitious project. It's probably just something fun to play with and put in the kitchen. So maybe it's okay if it only lasts a year or two. Who knows? Maybe we're doing something else in here too anyways. Probably. Maybe curly basil. Never know how curly this basil is going to be. Sounds kind of cool though. Controversial opinion about basil. How come it smells better than it tastes? Whenever I smell basil, I'm always like, oh, this smells so good. But then I tasted it. It's controversial. Sorry. All right, this one, again, not too many roots. We're just gonna jam it in from the top. Little purpurayas, you want to fill up their pitchers with water. That's why they have no rain lid. So once you get it in there, don't forget to fill up your little purpuraya, Sarracenia purpuraya that is, with water. Purple pitcher plant. Purpuraya is purple in Latin. Some of you probably could figure that out. There we go. Actually, let's put him right here. That's kind of cool. You can move them around. There's a little sphagnum tussock for our purpuraya. I think pings are a great choice, but their mix is not. You can see the remnants of the sandy mix that we plant them on there. And that's just gonna fall out one of these little herbal things for sure. Dill. Bye, dill. But most pings, you wouldn't want to do this with anything that makes a really hard succulent rosette. But things like morinensis, a marginata, you'll put a little marginata in here too before it's all done. Those are good choices for things like this. Let's get that dill out of there. And they don't need any really soil. So on this one, I think I will squish some in from up top. And I think I'm just gonna set it on there, honestly. Let's make sure there's a lot down in there so that it can bring that water up on the ping. I think it's a good idea to go a lot in there. These other ones can grow longer roots that will go down into there, into the reservoir below. Pings can't do that. So you want this to be a really good, solid plug for capillary action. Yeah, I don't know. I like literally might just set that on top of there and see what happens. Because I think as long as it's moist under there, it'll work. Let's find out. Okay, ping in the front. There's nothing holding it down. If you have cats in the house, this might not be a project for you. My cats would definitely take that ping and put it under the couch. Maybe your cats are better behaved than mine. It's probably true. Cephalotes, this would be an awful fancy one for you to try at home because they're kind of expensive plants. But we have a lot of cephalotes here, so why not? Let's try it. And they're usually really root shy. They don't have a lot of roots either. And we do, oops. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of roots, and so there wasn't anything holding that root ball together. That's just the end of the cephalotus roots right there. So don't worry, you didn't break them all off. They just were never there. So what I'm gonna do on this one is just take most of the sandy soil away, because again, it's not gonna be a good mix for a setup like this. But this is one of those things, we always use this sandy mix, sand and peat, for our cephalotus, but there are lots and lots of people out there that use a sphagnum mix, especially under lights. I don't usually, but it could work. So in this one, I'm gonna try and leave most of that little plug without disturbing it. They are kind of sensitive in the roots. I'm gonna try and do it kind of similar way to the purpurea, which is a little bit of moss around there, and then just stick it down on in there. Oh, that's right, there it is. Thai basil. Basils of the world, never to be seen or grown. Poor basil. There's probably some basil farmer out there furiously typing in the comments. How dare you, sir? Not to mention the dill people. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. I'm getting slightly better at this, I feel like. If you did it all day long, this could definitely get dialed in. I don't know about that. I spoke too soon. It's all going to pieces. Okay. Firm but gentle is so important with plants. So much of plants is knowing what you can do. So probably I could do that. Just gonna push it down in and hope for the best. Like I said, it's a pretty neat deer experiment, but we have a lot of them. Don't tell anybody. So it'll probably be okay if we lose one. But maybe it'll be a huge success. Everyone will be growing cephalotus and Aerogardens all over the whole world after this trend takes over everything. Maybe not. Maybe it'll still mostly be basil. So. Okay. So this one ended up with like nothing down below, and I just think that there's not going to be enough capillary action. So this is another one where we're going to squeeze it in through the bars underneath. Also, if you guys have already done this and you figured out something that I missed, put it in your comments below. Help your friends. Help us. Help everybody. And the next video can be a lot shorter. All right, I think that's pretty good. That's a nice little cephalotus sausage. You don't hear that every day. Good luck with the subtitles on that. And we'll put that one right there. The rest of this is going to be kind of repetitive, so I'm just going to fill up the last 3 sockets without you guys watching. Sorry, you're going to miss some jokes. All right, Danielle, I'll tell you about them later. Here we go. Okay, so we got it all set up. This is our herb carnage. It did come with little caps, and if you're doing carnivorous plants from seeds, that would actually be useful, but they're like, I don't know, you can maybe put on, I don't think they're useful. And it came with a bunch of fertilizer. It's probably gonna be too strong to use. We're not gonna even mess with that. So don't use the fertilizer. There are ones that we recommend, but I wouldn't do that. And then, well, first off, what we got in here is we ended up with Sarracenia purpurea, a purple pitcher plant. We ended up with a couple different butterworts or pinguicula. This is Pinguicula lawayana. We put that little clump of them in there. We're really curious to see, will it get the really nice red leaf color with this light? This is a green flowered, probably I think it's like a pirouette pinguicula. And then we've also put a Venus flytrap in there to see what happens. We put a cephalotus in there to see what happens. We've put in a few different Cape Sundews, a red one and an alba. I'm really curious to see, will the red one stay red under this light? That'll help us see how strong it is. And we put a little rosetted sundew clump in there too, Tocaiensis. And one little Nepenthes. This is Ventricosa by Dubia. I know everyone always wants to know what plants we use. And then some lucky employee, possibly Daniela or Allison, are going to take this home and care for it. This light, I think we'll start off right down there, right on top of the plants. That's probably your best bet. It's LED, so it shouldn't burn anything. And then it says it comes with a preset photo period, a period of time that the light is on, but you can adjust that. We're not gonna, you can try and watch your grandpa program an old VCR in the 80s, or you can watch me do this. We're not gonna do this. But it says on there that you can adjust the photo period. Usually 12 to 14 hours is a good amount of time. You could leave it on for 24 hours, but it'll probably mess with their natural cycles. Like I said, we're probably not going to keep them in here for years and years, so it's probably okay if they don't go dormant. And a lot of just your eye comfort has to do with how long you have it on. You probably don't want it on for 24 hours if it's in your studio, right? Anyways, probably just start off with what its setting is. If you want to mess with it, change it to 12 or 14 hour photo period. keep it filled with distilled water, rainwater, reverse osmosis water in here at all times. And I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna do another check-in on this thing, like, I don't know, 4 or 6 weeks, and we'll see how all these plants are looking, and is it a great success? Or probably should just stick growing parsley and basil in this thing. And again, Aerogarden's not paying for this. This wasn't like a fancy ad. We just got one for Christmas too, and we're trying to see if we could help you guys grow carnivorous plants in this thing. So highly experimental, not a full endorsement, although maybe afterwards. All right, I can't wait to show you guys how they look in a few weeks.